Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Izzat Haikal. Our group will present about histopathology of Cushing syndrome. Basically, Cushing syndrome is a hormonal disorder caused by too much hormone cortisol in the body. Cortisol is a steroid hormone which produced in the adrenal gland. Cushing syndrome, also known as hypercorticolism. There are many causes of Cushing syndrome. First of all, Cushing syndrome can develop from taking oral corticosteroid medication such as prednisone in high doses over time. Next, pituitary gland tumor or pituitary adenoma, which is a non-cancerous tumor of the pituitary gland that produce an excess amount of ACTH, which in turn stimulate the adrenal glands to make more cortisol. Next cause is ACTH secreting tumor, which is a tumor that develop in an organ that normally does not produce ACTH, that will begin to secrete this hormone in excess. After that, adrenal gland disease, where the most common is a non-cancerous tumor of the adrenal cortex, called adrenal adenoma, which can produce too much cortisol. Last cause is familial Cushing syndrome, where people inherit a tendency to develop tumors on one or more of their endocrine gland, affecting cortisol level and causing Cushing syndrome. For the signs and symptoms of Cushing syndrome, first, weight gain, especially in the upper body. Secondly, thin bones, which is osteoporosis. Third, high blood sugar, also known as diabetes. Fourth, high blood pressure or hypertension. Fifth, rounded face and extra fat on the upper back and above the collarbones. Sixth, muscle loss and weakness. Seven, thin, fragile skin that brushes easily. Next symptom is depression and difficulties thinking clearly. Besides that, purple red stretch marks appear usually over the abdomen and under the arms. Lastly, too much facial hair in women.
This is the normal histology of the adenohypophysis. This slide displays the three cell types of the anterior pituitary gland under H&E stain. The acidophils appear as cells with pink cytoplasm and dark nuclei. These cells are mammotroph and somatotroph. The basophils appear as darker cells with purple cytoplasm. These basophils are further classified by the hormone they produce, which is the thyrotroph and gonadotroph and corticotroph. Corticotroph is the one that produces ACTH. Finally, a few chromophores are visible in this section. These cells are non-secretory and serve as support cells or precursor to the acidophils and basophils. Next, I will present the normal histology of the adrenal cortex, which the cells in this part responsible in the cortisol secretion. This is the histology of the adrenal cortex and medulla of the adrenal gland. In adrenal cortex, the cells are arranged in three concentric zones, which can be differentiated based on the pattern produced by the cord cells, and boundaries between zones are indistinct. The adrenal cortex composed of zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, and zona reticularis. The one that is responsible to produce cortisol is zona fasciculata. Zona fasciculata consists of large polyhedral cells and arranged in the long straight cord with one or two cell tips and separated by the sinusoidal capillaries. There are lightly stained spherical nucleus and numerous of lipid droplets.
Cushing disease occurs when pituitary adenoma, a benign tumor, produces too much ACTH. ACTH is produced by the corticotroph of pituitary gland. The tumor can be either microadenoma or macroadenoma. So, there are three types of pituitary adenomas, which are densely granulated, sparsely granulated, and crude cell adenoma. We go to the first type of corticotroph adenoma or CA, which is densely granulated adenoma or DGCA. This picture shows that DGCA is the most common subtype of CA. They have a sinusoidal architecture and are composed of basophilic cells, strongly positive with pus stain, granular cytoplasm and a large, hyperchromatic nucleus with prominent nucleoli. At the right picture, strong and diffuse immunostaining for ACTH is present. In the majority of CA, ACTH is the only pituitary hormone expressed by immunohistochemistry. Next is sparsely granulated or SGCA are less frequent than the DGCA counterpart, usually larger, presenting as a macroadenoma with more subtle clinical features of Cushing syndrome. Tumor cells are friendly basophilic or chromophobic, with a focal and weak pus positivity and ACTH immunoreactivity. However, they retain a strong nuclear TPIT and cytoplasmic keratin and galectin-3 positivity. Lastly is crude cell adenomas, which is tumor cells show crude hiding changes consisting of a homogeneous highly material composed of filament occupying large areas of the cytoplasm and replacing organelles and secretory granules to the cell periphery. Tumor cells are large and have a homogeneous glassy, slightly acidophilic cytoplasm with granular basophilia limited to the cell periphery. Nuclei may be highly atypical. At right picture, immunohistochemistry identifies nuclear TPIT positivity and ACTH reactivity limited to the cell periphery. Why? Low molecular weight cytokeratin exhibit intense green light cytoplasmic positivity. These tend to be more aggressive than the usual cortical trough adenomas.
Hi, my name is Ahmad Kalis bin Yahya, and I will describe on features of the adrenocortical adenoma, which is the causes of the Cushing syndrome. So this is an adrenocortical adenoma, and it is benign in contrast to the adrenocortical carcinoma, which are extremely rare, and pathologists may spend their whole life never seeing one adrenocortical adenoma because very common, and they are seen quite frequently at autopsy, and they may or may not be functional. In other words, it produces adrenocortical hormones. Notice that this tumor, which is about 1.5 centimeters, is very bright and yellow, and the same color and the same texture as this nice thin rim of adrenal cortex. Notice this reddish brownish area between the two in 1 millimeter cortical ribbons is the adrenal medulla. Let's look at it microscopically now, and I think we will not be surprised to see the same thing. Here is the normal adrenal cortex, and you see that there are these large veins which are often characteristic of the adrenal medulla. Notice that as you look at the adrenal cortex, which kind of has its usual normal delineation of glomerular-like structures towards the periphery and perhaps small linear vesicles in the middle, that the tumor looks very much like the normal adrenal cortex. Here is the normal adrenal cortex, and here is the tumor. The tumor looks a little bit more like the glomerulosa zone rather than the fasciculata zone. That means it is more likely to secrete salt-regulating hormones rather than sugar, perhaps. But fact is, many of these don't secrete anything at all, and some of them may hypersecrete adrenal cortical hormones and be functional, but many of them don't. Also notice that in contrast to the adrenocortical carcinoma, this cell looks normal. They have uniform nuclei, not pleomorphic, not hyperchromatic, and are in well-differentiated cells which have abundant foamy cytoplasm. So characteristic of cells which store cholesterol for the production of steroid hormones. Also notice that the margins of this tumor are fairly well defined and do not impact at all.
My name is Muhammad Haikal bin Muhammad Hashim, and I'm going to present about the pathogenesis of Cushing syndrome and try to relate it with the histopathology of the disease. According to the experts, the pathogenesis of Cushing syndrome is still unclear. However, it is closely related to the gene mutation that lead to the development of tumor cells, especially on the organs of pituitary gland and adrenal gland. Pituitary adenoma, or more specifically cortical trough adenoma, can be either inherited or acquired based on the type of gene mutation involved. Inherited mutation may involve gene MEN1 and gene CDKN1B, while the acquired mutation may involve the changes in gene GNAS1 and gene AIP. This mutation may turn on the oncogenes and cause cells in the pituitary gland grow and divide uncontrollably. That will later affect the negative feedback mechanism that regulate ACTH hormone release and eventually result in the overproduction of cortisol by adrenal gland. The histopathology of cortical trough adenoma can be classified into densely granulated adenoma, sparsely granulated adenoma, and crooked cell adenoma. The appearance of densely and sparsely adenoma usually correlates with content of hormone containing secretory cells that driven by transcription factor TPIT. Densely granulated adenoma indicate high ACTH concentration within the cytoplasm, while sparsely granulated adenoma indicate low ACTH concentration. Meanwhile, crooked cell indicate the cytoplasmic accumulation of cytokeratin filaments in response to high glucocorticoid level that fail to inhibit the ACTH production.
Cushing syndrome is a rare condition with potentially serious complications if it is left untreated. Proper diagnosis is important for allowing an appropriate treatment. Due to the variable pattern of biochemical parameters and non-specificity of clinical manifestation, the diagnosis is often become a challenge for the clinician. First-line screening for Cushing syndrome including 24 hours urinary free cortisol, low-dose dexamethasone suppression test, and late-night salivary cortisol is necessary diagnosis to determine the exact cause of this syndrome. Pharmacologic treatment, while not the first line, play a vital role for selected patients with this syndrome. Pharmacist involvement in the management of patients' steroid therapy can lead to fewer cases of drug-induced Cushing syndrome. Treatments are designed to lowering the high cortisol level depends to the symptom, including reducing corticosteroid use, surgery, and radiation therapy. Finally, pituitary microsurgery and laparoscopic adrenalectomy have given all patients with Cushing syndrome a chance for a gratifying clinical remission. Lastly, normalization of cortisol is the mainstay for prevention and treatment of nearly all complications due to Cushing syndrome.